saw a familiar face walking on the avenue. Both surprised by the way we looked. The years had changed us too.
Hello again. Welcome to another episode of Gung. It's August 14, 2025. I'm going to concentrate on Trump the dictator, Epstein the pervert, and some other things. Just for your information, and I assume some of you already know this, I've been doing this show for over 20 years. We started out, me and some other veterans, to do one show in support of John Kerry when he was running against Bush 43, and we never stopped. And I've heard people on TV all day long saying we have to stand up to Trump, One of the ways we stand up to him is by speaking the truth, telling what's really going on, what we know, using whatever it is, writing, using TV. It's obvious now to me that the mainstream media, TV, and cable news will not tell you the truth. What I believe and what other people believe, we're not getting the truth out. The truth is too big. Most people can't handle the truth. I have a unique, view, a first-hand view as to a lot of things that have happened. And it's about corruption and misconduct within institutions that we were taught to revere, like the FBI, Department of Justice, the Supreme Court, the presidency. Well, none of them right now deserve any reverence from us at all. And I found this all out firsthand. All right. As far as Trump and Epstein, think of your closest friend right now, someone you know for 15 or 20 years. Would you know if he was out there systematically abusing teenagers, underage, and not one, but doing it all the time? Would you know he was up to something if he was your best friend? Of course you would. Trump and Epstein are two peas in the same pod. One is a loser. Trump is a loser. He would not be where he is right now but for Russian money. He's Putin's puppy. He's going to kiss Putin's asshole. He'll keep doing it. It's about money. Epstein is a monster, a pedophile. It must be a sickness. And I think right now we don't know, how deep this really goes. It can't have been just him and all these hundreds of children. It's not him. There are other people involved, like Prince Andrew. There are other people involved. And the information, the truth, is being held back. And it's all kinds of people, probably Democrats and Republicans and rich people, but it's out there. It's being hidden from us. Same thing with Trump. The truth. I know what happened. And there are other lawyers out there that know what happened, and people in the government that know what happened, and they will not tell you the truth. Here's, for example, this with Epstein. There was an article in the New York Times, was it yesterday or yesterday, about the Russians have hacked the federal court record system. I read it, so big deal. The federal courts have what they call PACER, Public Access Court Electric Records. Anybody can go on PACER. There is no background check. You just apply, and you pay money to view and you could look at any case you want, unless they've taken the case out of the system or it never was in the system, and that could happen. All right, so you want to look at USA versus Jeffrey Epstein? Just go online, USA versus Jeffrey Epstein, and these sites will come up. You don't have to go to Pacer and pay. You come up with Court Listener. It's free, and they have on Court Listener have all the docket entries on the Jeffrey Epstein case, right up to now. Here it is. I printed it out. Everything, every docket entry up until now. And the strange thing about now, another thing is, Alan Dershowitz is out there saying he was Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer. Well, according to this document, this is the document pertaining to USA versus Jeffrey Epstein. Alan Dershowitz is not one of his lawyers on this case. So he's out there talking to his asshole. But just recently, how's this for an entry? I got this on Court Listener. It's the documents, the docket entries on the case. This is all official. Okay. On July 21, 2025, notice of attorney appearance. Appearing for the USA, for the United States of America, notice of appearance for Todd Blanche. Do you know who Todd Blanche is? Todd Blanche is the Assistant Attorney General for Trump. He's making an appearance on Jeffrey Epstein's case in July of 2025. This is a guy that couldn't make Attorney General because the Senate wouldn't go with him. So Trump appoints him as Attorney General, Assistant Attorney General. This is the guy that defended Trump in the Manhattan case where he got convicted of 34 felonies. This guy is a hack. And here he is, he's putting a notice in on Epstein's case. How's that? What the hell is he doing that for? Why is he doing that? And if you look at Ghislaine Maxwell's case, the docket entries, you go down, who's her attorney? She has an attorney, I forgot his name right now, no, just filed a notice of appearance, like just the end of July. He's never been on the case before. And he is friends with this guy that filed a notice in Jeffrey Epstein's case, Blanche. They're really good friends. So all of a sudden, Maxwell has a new attorney that's friendly with Trump's Attorney General. What the hell is going on here? All right. As far as those two, the worst of the worst. The worst liar, sociopath, and the worst pedophile ever, and they hang out together. Best friends. What does that say? I mean, I've heard this many times. Show me your friends. Oh no, back up. Show me who you walk with, and I'll tell you who you are. In other words, tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are. And those two were best of friends. That says what they are. The worst of the worst. For years, I've been trying to get out the truth about how Trump went from a loser to being a dictator. I've been doing it on the show. I've been writing about it. I've been to court. There is litigation right now ongoing in the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit in Manhattan. It involves this guy by the name of Felix Sater, who's been an FBI informer since 1998. There's litigation going on right now, and I'm part of it. It's about the government going after two lawyers. One is Fred Oberlander, the other one is Rich Lander. The litigation is pending right now. The witness against him is Felix Sater, who actually could never take the stand and swear to tell the truth, because all these years he's been an FBI informer, and while he has, he's been committing crimes. And I can prove all of this beyond a doubt. It's ongoing right now, and I am part of that case. I'm a witness for those two attorneys against Felix Sater and the government right now. Why? By chance. Because this thing about Felix Sater, how did I get involved? By chance. By chance, I was watching Ari Melba in 2018, and he mentioned that Felix Sater, the FBI informer that I know beyond a reasonable doubt since 2000, March 2000, because he was the informer on this case. This is the case file. USA v. Frank Copa. 19 people were arrested, and most of them were Italian mafia and Russian mafia, and that's how I first saw the name Felix Sater, the main informer, black and white here. So I know Felix Sater, and Ari Melba was talking about him in 2018, trying to make a deal with Michael Cohen, Trump's lawyer, to build a Trump Tower in Moscow during the campaign. So I know all of this firsthand. All right. So, I don't know, I know all of this happened. I know that Felix Sater, after he became an informer, and before he was sentenced on this case, he took a plea to racketeering conspiracy. I have all the documents. I have his sentencing in 2009. I know, beyond a reasonable doubt, before he was sentenced, he went over to Trump Tower and got involved with a business called Bayrock. He became Trump's most important real estate partner, FBI informer, with 2 felony convictions because the government agreed to keep them secret. And he and Trump, he with Bayrock and Trump with the Trump Organization, laundered maybe $1 billion of Russian stolen money. This all happened. I know it happened. I could prove it. The government was involved. I'm talking about the FBI, Department of Justice, federal judges, all the way up. I think our presidents at the time knew exactly what was going on. Why? I don't know why this was allowed to happen. But Trump was saved 6 times from bankruptcy with Russian money that was stolen from the Russian state by oligarchs. It's there. And nobody wants to talk about it but me and some other lawyers. And they drowned us out. Well, actually, they just don't mention us. I'm discarded. They're discarded. Why did it happen? Why was Trump allowed to launder all this money with a Russian FBI, actually, the guy was born in Russia. Felix Sater was born in Russia. His father was a lieutenant in the Russian mafia. This is all provable. His father was a lieutenant in the Russian mafia when they came here. He worked for a guy, the mob boss was a guy by the name of Mogilevich. This guy Mogilevich was the head of the Russian mafia. Not really, because the real boss is Putin. That's the way it is. It's a mafia state. So Mogilevich, believe it or not, and you can check it, I saw Mueller when he was head of the FBI say, we're going after Mogilevich, the head of the Russian mafia. This is our main target. Meanwhile, he has Felix Sater, as an FBI informer, working in Trump Tower, laundering money. He's going to go after now the guy that's behind this, Mogilevich, the head of the Russian mafia, and Putin. And I said to myself, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they got conned by Felix Sater. He's the biggest, greatest bullshitter ever, and he'll tell you that, making deals.
I think he convinced Mueller and his minions, including Andrew Weissman, who's on MSNBC every day, he convinced them that he could help them, the FBI and the Department of Justice, get Mogilevich and get Putin. That's bullshit. If Mogilevich believed that Felix Sater was really going to do that, the next bite he took, Felix Sater, he would die in agony. So I think the FBI, Department of Justice, and other people got conned by Felix Sater, believing they were going to make this big case against the Russian mafia. And it went nowhere. And I saw Mueller talking about it. The mission of the FBI is to bring down Mogilevich, the head of the Russian mafia. They never did that. In fact, Mogilevich got a passport from the Israelis and was traveling back and forth. He never was arrested. I think it was a great Russian intelligence operation. There were Russian mafia, plenty of them living in Trump Tower, buying condos with cash. That's legal. When you show up and you want to buy something with cash, it's completely legal. Even though the cash was stolen out of a bank in Russia or a bank in Kazakhstan, you come forward, you bring the cash to Trump. I've got all these millions, I want to buy 3 of your condos. Trump doesn't ask any questions. He doesn't have to. The guy's giving you this money, that guy's a criminal. He's laundering money that was stolen from whatever they were doing. But it's legal to take that as long as no one can prove that you knew it was stolen. Well, this is what Trump has done his whole life. This is how he's been bankrolled, by Russian money, Russian cash from Russian oligarchs. But nobody wants to tell you that. And the only question is, why did our government let it happen? I don't know the answer. But I know this, that all these people, and it's probably Democrats and Republicans and rich people that know the truth, so far, none of them have stepped forward. None of them have come forward. Why? They have to fall on their own sword. They have to say, yes, we did this and we fucked up. It's like, remember the Manchurian Candidate? It's a version of that. It's called the Russian Candidate. They did something that was so bad, such a mistake, such a blunder, so obvious, that they financed Trump, the loser. Another thing about Trump. Trump was merely a mark for the Soviets. They were looking to make inroads in the United States, and they would pick out people, and they'd pick out rich people, and he was just a mark. The first time he went to the Soviet Union was in 1987. I think he was there for a week. And when he came back, he was actually taking out ads in the major newspapers saying we should pull out of NATO. You know, NATO was created to protect us from the Soviet Union aggression. And here he is in 1987 saying we should pull out of NATO. That's a traitor. Where does he get that from? He got it from the Soviets. He was a mark. He became a mark because he walked into a store one day in Manhattan to buy a lot of TVs for one of his towers, a hotel, I think maybe the Pierre. That place was a front for the Soviet Union. It was a front. They just like reeled him in. He's a mark. They don't know what he's going to do. But he knew this, that he was a greedy fuck. Greedy, and he would do anything for money. And you never know where that's going to go. Well, the most successful Russian intelligence operation ever. They got that mark, that greedy loser. They got him to the point where he was able to run for president and be elected. And no one stopped him. Except these lawyers that I'm talking about, Fred Oberlander and Rich Lerner, they tried to bring out the truth. I'm involved in it. I'm involved in what they tried to disclose in federal court. It's been going on. They tried to do it in 2010. They tried to bring out the truth about Felix Sater and Donald Trump, what they were doing. They got squashed by the FBI, the Department of Justice, and federal judges. However, I found out about it by chance because Ari Melba mentioned Felix Sater. I went back to my file and I realized he's talking about the same Felix Sater who was the informer on this big case. That big case went nowhere. It was big in the news. You know, the feds bust the mafia on Wall Street. Big, big news. The case just went away. I went away because Felix Sater, when he was supposed to be a witness on the case, was out there committing new crimes, money laundering and tax evasion, while he was on the case and supposed to be a witness. Couldn't be a witness anymore. And they hid that from us, from all the defendants on the case. That's where he was out there. Their case went away, just disappeared. So, oh boy. I braced Felix Sater at an event in Manhattan, the New York Society for Culture and Integrity. He was one of the guests. I was there. I called him out. He knows me. I even gave him one of my books, So It's Target. I made sure he got it. I was there in the audience. I passed out a letter about him being an FBI informer. I spoke to the host before the event. It was hosted by New York Magazine. And I said, are you going to ask him about being an FBI informer and working with Trump while he was in? No, I'm not going to go there. No, that's not going to be part of the show. What? You're going to have Felix Sater on your show as a host, as a guest, and you're not going to ask him about his career as an FBI informer and being Trump's major real estate partner. No, I'm not going to do that. Well, I was in the audience, and I got up and I say, you know something, to the host, you're fucking full of shit. You're not asking him the right questions. This guy is an FBI informer. This guy is a rat, pointing at Felix Sater. I got escorted out. That's the mainstream media. New York Magazine. Here I am, telling them the truth about their guest. And I got escorted out. But you know what? I came forward in 2018. I came forward and I went to court to testify for Fred Oberlander and Richard Lander in court, in federal court, Eastern District. I wanted to testify that the government was going after them in bad faith. The Judge Hall, wouldn't let me take the stand, although they had my affidavit and it was filed. My affidavit is there right now for anybody to look at. It's there. It's in that case, and it's in the case that's pending in the Court of Appeals in Manhattan. It's my affidavit showing with documents, evidence, showing them the evidence. The government is lying about Felix Sater. They're lying about what these lawyers did. These lawyers have been basically framed. And I am part of it. And when a judge just wrote a decision, well, actually, she wrote it in, a federal judge wrote a decision about this case, and that decision is being appealed. She ordered them to be disciplined, a federal judge by the name of Donnelly. She had my affidavit and with exhibits. And guess what? It looks like she didn't read it, or it looks like she read it and she discarded it. So I spoke to Rich Lerner about what's going on just recently, maybe a week ago. And I said, I read Judge Donnelly's decision. He said, yes, he said to me, you were discarded. They completely ignored you. And that's the Federal Grievance Committee and a federal judge that heads it and lawyers involved. They discarded my sworn affidavit that's on record. I'm nowhere in the decision. I'm their witness. No matter what, I'm still there, and I'm ready to go forward. They have been ruined financially. The feds went after them, and they told everyone in the media that these two lawyers are crazy. They don't know what they're talking about. But when I came forward in 2018 with my affidavit, no one said anything bad about me, not at all, because they knew me. Some of them knew me. I'm talking about the prosecutors and the judges in the federal court. They know me. They knew me. And no one would say anything bad about Mr. Giannini. That I'm mistaken, I'm a liar, I'm crazy, I don't know what I'm talking about. No, can't do that with me. So I've been campaigning against them all these years, calling them out. They are criminals. They're co-conspirators in the cover-up. And the cover-up is what our government did with Trump to allow him to become the monster that we have right now. I've got to take some more steps. I confronted Andrew Weissman, but at one of his book events, he's really deep into it. Everybody thinks he's such a great guy. No, he is suppressing what really happened because it would ruin his career. And the careers of a lot of people, other people that were involved. Probably also that guy Jack Smith. He came out of the Eastern District. He was there for 8 years. All of this stuff that I'm talking about, all this corruption and misconduct by the FBI, the judges, it all came out of the Eastern District in Brooklyn. And Andrew Weissman, Jack Smith, the special counsel, they were together there for years. It's like a buddy thing. They're not going to give up one another at this point. If you tell the truth, someone's going to ask you, Sue, who else was involved? There's a lot of U.S. attorneys involved. There's a lot of people involved that know, that actually were involved in this. Lawyers, that I know their names, like Todd Kaminsky, Andrew Weissman, Eric Korngold. I know them. They were involved in doing this. And they won't come forward and tell you what really happened. They will not tell you the truth. I could keep saying this over and over. I have been discarded. No one pays attention to me. But I'm not going away. I'm here forever. Bye-bye.
I saw